I think this is just the best talent we've had up here. It's fantastic. And so I've said to Brigish, your writing orders are, we're going over time. Because you've now got the opportunity to ask some questions. And I learned a lot. These people are way more successful than I am. It's always wonderful to hear how people can do what they do. I mean, you look at businesses like Trade Monster, but also what Vino Ramaya's done with MedTech Global. I mean, it's gone global. And with that sort of market share, if you need some legal advice on Commerce Act implications of being dominant in the market, let me know. So, Brigish, I think we need to open it up, and it's not often you get a panel of this calibre, and I think we need to take some 4 or 5 questions if we can. So if there's questions or comments, Brigish will field them.
Oh, thanks, Vino, for sharing the insight. There's always say that we always underestimate what's going to happen in 10 years' time, and we overestimate for what's going to happen in 2 years' time. So my question is around what is the talent strategy for small business for short term and long term?
Who'll answer that? We're not.
Well, searching for talent is always very important. But your talent strategy, and I'm picking up what was said about crowdsourcing, that is another way of going and looking for talent. Today, you don't have to do everything yourself. You've got to look for the best people. The constraint of operating as a SME is the fact that you'll run to your next constraint. The theory of constraint tells you that you will go to your next constraint. How do you address that? By, you may not have capital, you may not have people enough. We've grown to a size of 350 people around the world. I expect that we will grow to maybe 400 or 500, but there will come a point in time, do we need to really grow that talent, or do we need to go and seek that talent and engineer connections to those talent? That to me is a better formula.
Yeah, I agree as well. He kind of stole my answer. But crowdsourcing is a really great way to understand your skills and take small steps. I think it's towards your talent acquisition as well. At the same time, I think also keeping an eye out on technology that's coming at us is critical. What kind of skills do you need? And crowdsourcing can help you, access that expertise when you need it, and help you kind of, grow that mindset.
I think the perspective that I've got from Vodafone is we simply can't productize all of the things that customers are going to need under a landscape like the Internet of Things because it's really fragmented. So what's very important for us is that we partner very broadly with a lot of customers who fulfill those needs, and that we grow talent from within, and some of the graduates in our program are here tonight. And the other piece that we've done, we've started a business accelerator called Zone. So if you sort of cut through the themes of there, we need to be close to our partners, more agile internally, and also start to access the innovators that are in the market and work out what we can do to help them be successful, because we've got a brand and channels to market that is very difficult for them to get, and they have agility and understanding of what the needs are, and some pretty smart people who are making things happen.
I think it's more about technology, and I think that is very important, and once they can utilize the technology, I think they can realize that the market is unlimited. And for example, I have been in China for 4 days last week, and I didn't bring my wallet. And I don't get cash from the ATM as well, so I just use my phone. So restaurant, Starbucks, Uber. So for SMEs, I think it's cool for them to really define the technology and the market, how they can connect with the technology to their business, and find the right tools to help them to expand. That is something that I think that is something they can develop very, very fast. 700% a year, maybe even faster than this.
Thanks, Leon.
Right, I have
A question for Binoy. I think it was a great speech that you gave. Particularly the point that people work for people. We all work for an organization, but at the end of the day, I think it's who you work for that makes the difference. So from your perspective, what are the 3 top qualities or skills should a leader have to succeed?
Sorry, can you introduce yourself?
Right, Laurie from ASB Bank.
Thank you.
Look, I'll attempt to, everyone has a style, but fundamentally it's about being a good listener, understanding the audience, or, you can only, it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you are perceived. And to get that right, you have to get into the head of the listener and understand where are they coming from, what does this mean to them. And when you can understand that, then you're really communicating. Okay? So the first point is be a good listener. The other is you've got to really stay relevant to people. Now, people's aspirations change. They change as they grow, their families change, all their situational things change. How do you stay relevant to them? And also to ensure that they stay relevant to the organizational aspirations. So discussing that and charting that is so important. The last thing is let people make mistakes. It's hard, but it is important. We all didn't learn how to run the moment we were born, right? We first learn how to crawl, we learn how to stand, we learn how to fall, and then slowly we learn how to walk. That's the journey. You have to sometimes sit back and allow them to make their mistakes. As long as it's within the risk tolerance, do that. Okay.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah, there's one there. Really. Can you please introduce yourself?
It's Sherry Holland. I'm interested in the failures. You mentioned that you've made a number of mistakes. I was reading a stat that about between 60 and 80% of digital transformation projects don't deliver the benefits that were promised. So that's a huge challenge for organisations wanting to upscale and get out of this SME profile into something large. But how many failures can they afford? It's pretty scary. So any advice around failing? Cheap failing instead of expensive failing?
Maybe Vodafone can answer.
That's another poison challenge. My observation of this is because there are a lot of projects that we're either involved in or asked to get involved in, and people haven't thought through what the success criteria are, and then if you meet those success criteria, what's the next step? In theory, you should have a pretty well constructed concept in your eye on the prize of if these things are ticked off and it's successful, then the market opportunity is that great, and so you get the mandate for the next round of investment. But a lot of the time it tends to be pet projects that are interesting, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's fairly interesting," and then nothing happens for a long time. So I think it's all about the disciplines, how it's measured, the mandate to move ahead, and the fit with strategy. You need to have the leaders or the executive sponsors who are saying, "It is important to me, that's why I'm doing it in the first place."
I think in my experience, it's always been to kind of experiment and try things, but at the same time have the agility to change as you go. And I think SMEs and startups are uniquely positioned to do that, and that's why the team and the leader and just having folks on board who are in that mindset of being agile and being able to respond. And honestly, in this digital space, it's relatively easier. It's easier now to kind of change things on the fly as well. So I think always keeping that sort of mentality and mindset helps.
I'll just make one point. I think get a good data set. Evidence-based decision making is very rare. People like, as I said, like to go to the how quickly, but the what and why will you succeed? What data do you have? What competitive analysis have you done? Where is the trend actually going? This enables you to anticipate the pitfalls. It's very expensive when you don't do that work and do a bit of, there's a good book by Daniel Kahneman called Fast and Slow Thinking. Read it. It's got some really good guidelines there. So,
I don't have
Xiaoying?
Well, so it's Xiaoying. It's this question especially for Gavin. Yeah, as I find your story is amazing. You're only here for 2.5 years, and you're partner with one of New Zealand very well established large SOE company. So I really want to know, how come you two parties can be working together?
very challenging. And for such an organization, and they have a lot of different department, cross-function, communication, and sometimes political as well. So first of all, is I think the people management skill. We have to be very strong. So engage with different hierarchy in the organizations, and also cross-function engagement to manage the different departments. Then provide us a solid foundation to work with New Zealand Post as an overall team structure. That is the first foundation for the relationship. Secondly, is a business opportunity. So New Zealand Post has well established for more than 160 years. But for international business, it's also very, very challenging, as the market is very small. We are far away from anywhere in this world. And by leveraging the e-commerce opportunity, so we found out that, actually New Zealand Post could do much more in China. And by leveraging the right people, right connection. So, after 18 months development, so we become one of the largest company for customer of New Zealand Post, apart from the government entity. So that is something that New Zealand Post has realized there's a huge market in there, and so they are starting investing into the market for the global market. So I don't know if I answered the question, but that is where we came from for the last 2.5 years.
So you're saying they choose you. So you're saying they choose you because of actually. You're saying they choose your company is because of your company doing quite well, and that is the main reason why New Zealand Post.
Start with a cold call from myself.
That's the answer.
Right. Yes. Someone that will speak. All right, guys. I think we'll just stop here. Oh, sorry. Oh, handed the mic. Okay. Last question. All right, go for it. Yeah.
So we're speaking about the SMEs tonight, and for me, SMEs, the main characteristic for SMEs is diversity. And the brightest side of diversity is probably creativity, the main competitive advantage that comes from it. But the negative impact of it is conflicts and cultural misunderstanding. Can you share your maybe recent experience or managerial experience with dealing with cultural misunderstanding, maybe cultural misunderstanding in your practice?
Okay. Actually, it happens all the time. I feel like uncomfortable when I talk to some of the SMEs, and it is not because their business concept is more about their philosophy and concept. I ask myself, and also I think 99% of the SMEs in New Zealand, could be wrong, and it's just my personal feeling that they don't have a long-term plan. So for us as a from Asia. We want to establish a business. We want to keep it for a long, long time, maybe to pass to the next generation. But I feel like sometimes that is a culture different. Yeah, obviously I have seen some of the New Zealand SMEs, they have the vision is not. So I think that is a kind of culture. Yeah.
Keep it working. Thank you. Guys, I think it's time to sum up now. What a lovely evening and a great insight by these 4 great speakers. Obviously, as we touched earlier on, we talked about expanding your markets. That's some key learnings to take home tonight. We talked about how energy helps you, 99% energy and 1% inspiration. So that's a great thing. I've experienced it myself as well. Talent, attracting the great, right kind of people into your organization, and I think developing that whole culture in the organization helps. We heard about crowdfunding and technology, how they can work together. Check out the Globally Spotted, and see for yourself. And obviously great achievement by Scott as well, in Internet of Things, change, innovation. They say there's only one thing constant, that is change. So that's, get that into your organization, because that's what's going to help you. Now, just before you go, one important thing is to select and partner with the key stakeholders for your growth. I mean, that's what I've done. For example, I've got the same lawyers for the last 12 years. Don't have to worry about it. So I believe we've got everyone here. We've got a technology here for Vodafone. We've got Chen Thomas as a lawyers, and then we've got BNZ. It's unbelievable how much you can take out from a bank. Honestly, you need to push them. Push them and you'll get it. I've got people saying, go to equity funding. I said, no, I go to my bank. And you get your, that's the best way to fund your business in a way, if you can, before you think about the next level up. I think I would highly recommend going to your bankers and talking to them to going to the next level. And of course, BNZ is here to support you guys. We've got NZME, obviously that's a channel to connect to people. We've got AUT, where some of us can learn, not all of us, because the rest can come to our organization. So with this, guys, have a nice evening and great to see you all. Thank you very much.